Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome on to Branded. This is the podcast that takes you behind the scenes and beyond the brand. And today we are talking with Lindsay Hill. I'm super excited to bring you guys today's episode. Lindsay is a new-ish connection, right? And we sort of met by total accident. That's one of the coolest meetings, right? But since then, we've kept connected, and we decided, like, as I was launching this sort of new series of just jam-packing fantastic interviews into the Branded podcast, Lindsay was somebody that we got connected, and I was like, yes, let's do this. So Lindsay is a former college volleyball coach. She's been doing that for 20 plus years, not anymore, and we'll get to that. And her husband is a college baseball coach. So you guys are in the sports realm. Like I grew up as a competitive gymnast, so I get it.
Yeah.
And you guys also own a private Christian preschool. Like,
yes,
that must keep you busy. And they also own a business that hosts like baseball tournaments, summer camps, clinics, all the things. Like, you guys are fully into the realm of sports.
Yes. And an
entrepreneurship.
Called entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Yeah. And recently you have a CrossFit style gym. Let's see, it is Freedom Fitness. Like, That's so cool. And you're a certified sports nutritionist. So you guys, Lindsay's like the whole freaking package.
It's all my passions. So like, it just kind of all fell into place when it was God's timing, honestly, for most of this stuff that happens in our life. And all of the businesses we have just kind of happened when God wanted it to happen. And from there, we've just kind of flourished with it. So yeah. All things sports.
Well, and that's what's really cool about when you start listening to kind of that pull of, okay, I feel really passionate about this thing. I'm going to actually figure out how to monetize it because I want to do this every single day. And, I think a lot of people don't have that perception when it comes to having a career. It's almost like, what mold can I fit someone else's, and make money, rather than, no, this is my mold and I want to fit it. And now how do I make money doing that? It's like this, and it's just like a 1 degree shift in a like perspective, in my opinion. But
it is a 1 degree shift. And honestly, that's how I got out of coaching, to be honest. You tell me when you want to go into that story, but it is.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's dive in. So I was a college volleyball coach for 20 years and absolutely loved what I did. I loved the kids. I loved the recruiting. I just loved that connection that I had with them. And I was okay with, coaching the game of volleyball. Our last team finished 6th at nationals. We were a top 20 team. For my last 12 years of coaching, we were a top 20 in the nation team. So it was something that I felt like I was really good at. But when my oldest son, he turned 7, played in his very first soccer game. And I was sitting in Illinois, which is 3 states away, at a college volleyball tournament. And he called me and he said, "Mommy, I made 2 goals and I missed it." And at that point in time, I was like, this is not worth missing, because I knew if I didn't make a change at that point in time, I was forever going to miss those moments. So that 1% shift in, okay, there has to be something more. At that point in time, I was doing Arbonne's 30 Days to Healthy Living program, fell in love with it, knew that I could build a business on it. And I just went from there, just knew that I could do that. And I just took off. So it was a 1% shift, just that mind frame, want time freedom? Do you want that choice? Just flip that switch and go the other direction. So
yeah. Well, and that's the thing that I've come to recognize so vividly is there's insane amount of opportunity to not necessarily work less, but work around your life. There's so many industries and careers and businesses out there that, whether it's your own that you're, launching from scratch, or you're partnering with a business that already has everything in place for you, there are insane opportunities out there. And I was definitely of the mindset, 3+ years ago, my idea of network marketing was probably it was the generic, this is a scam. Let's not get involved. But for my own health journey, I inadvertently sort of stumbled upon it, and I was getting great results. I was getting cheered on by some of them I knew, but honestly, most of them were complete strangers. And I was feeling like myself again. And I was thinking, wow, this is what network marketing can do for you. And then, of course, there's the whole business side of it. Like
Right.
the community side is not something that I don't think enough people lead with.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people talk about the time freedom and the money and all of that, which can be really fabulous if you work the business, but the community and being able to network with people that have like the same kind of desires, it's really cool.
Right. And a lot of people at time, people don't know that that's what they're missing in life is just that community aspect, right? Like I tell people all the time, I would pay the amount of money it takes to join Arbonne just to be with the people that I'm with on a consistent basis in my business. Like it
Yeah.
is, they're that great. And they don't care like where you come from or what you do or, you know, how many kids you have or anything. They really just care to cheer you on and for you to be successful. And that's what I love. I love about that community atmosphere of network marketing.
Yeah. So was Arbonne your first company that you did network marketing with?
So funny story. Here's also why my story is really funny. I have actually had an Arbonne ID for 18 years. And did not build my business until it was 2018. So that's
Yeah.
5 years ago. That just hit my 5-year mark that I started building my business. So it is one of those things. I fell in love with the skincare, and then I fell in love with the nutrition, but I didn't actually build a business with it until 5 years
Well, the
ago.
timing
So
just wasn't right for you
right,
then, maybe. Yeah. And
right,
like um, you have to be awake to the fact that this is something that you want. Like I'm
right.
sure was plenty of people along that big stretch of years where they were like, hey, Lindsay, like you could be building
Yes,
the business, you could be making money, but it just wasn't for you then. And that's
correct. And
okay.
that's right. And I actually tried in the beginning and just being busy being a coach, like that was where my focus was. I didn't have a family. I wasn't married at the time. So my focus was over there. But it was like when that life happened and you're like, it made you shift your mind frame of it's just a job, right? So when that shift happened, I really was like, I can do this. I know that I can do this. Again, that 1% shift in that
Yeah.
mind was a big difference.
Yeah, that's awesome. So 2018, you really start launching your Arbonne business. It's now 2024. So you have gotten to the rank of national vice president. Like that's
Yes.
pretty amazing. I mean, it sounds incredible. I don't know what all the ranks mean, and that's what with all these
Right.
different companies. Everybody has their own naming of what stuff means. But what's the size of your team right now?
So national vice, just to kind of clarify, national vice president is
Yeah.
the top level. And we were able to, my team was able to reach that regional vice president, which is the third level, right before national vice president in 3 months and 3 days. And that's not typical.
Yeah.
But it also was that really focusedness on it, right? At the, during COVID, it was just such an explosion of network marketing. And at that point in time, our team was like over 250 people. We're down to, like roughly 100-ish now. But there's, they stay on through the hard times because of the community. They stay on because this is, they can really relate to the people and what they're going through during those times. And I think that's the important part of building that community during that time. But I still
Yeah.
love my people to death. They're just such a huge part of who I am, and it becomes some of my best friends.
Yeah, that's so true. Like honestly, some of the best connections that I've made in the last couple of years, they stemmed from just having a conversation about network marketing, or maybe we were in the same company together. Like it doesn't really matter where you come from. It's really kind of cool. Um, so tell me how, like when you decided to make the shift, okay, I'm going to quit being a college volleyball coach. I'm going to dive headfirst into Arbonne and I'm really going to make this work. What were some of the things that you were doing on a daily basis to really like get your business that momentum that got you, the ranks within those 3 months? And then what are some of the things that you're still doing today, right? That sometimes we forget the things that worked and we stop doing them. And then we're like, why is my business like plateaued? And then you think, oh
Right.
yeah, I got to go back and do these things.
Yeah,
So
I
what are
think
some
the
of those
biggest
daily things?
Yeah, so I think one of the big I actually worked like I still coached alongside building my business up until the point where I knew I could walk away. And I did that at the end of the next season. So I went through a whole nother season, still building my business up. We were halfway to nation by the time I was able to walk away. I didn't have time to do all the busyness stuff that we think about in network marketing. I had time to ask people to take a look at my products and ask people to take a look at my business. For me, time leveraging was the biggest key for me. So I asked a lot of people. I went through my phone book A to Z. I went through my social media A to Z and just asked them, like, would you take a look at what I'm doing? Simple as that, right? I'm not trying to pull one over on you. I'm just like, would you take a look at what I'm doing and see if it might be a fit for you? And I still follow those same principles today. Like I want the right people in my business. I want the right people, deciding that this is what they want to do. But all the busyness, I think that people think about in network marketing, it just comes down to, are we asking people to join our business and are we asking people to take a look at our products? And I think that that's just the shift for me that was where I had to put my time and energy into.
Yes. I love that that was your answer. Like, so good. Because that's that's a huge focus for me. And honestly, some of my clients and like friends that I've had conversations with over the last couple of weeks is we're like, as we go into 2024 and we really, really focus on our businesses, simplicity is key. Like human to human connection and simplicity, that, like, mark my words, that's the trend for 2024.
Yeah,
Enough
and
with
people
like the
just
overcomplicating.
Yeah, and people just don't have time for the
No.
overcomplicated, right? So they just have access to so much stuff on social media and so much, like people are selling things off of Amazon here and they're selling, things off of other, just everywhere. They just don't have time. And I did a whole training on the gig economy and the e-commerce economy and where it's headed and where it's going. And like by 2040, 90% of purchases are going to be online. 90%. Can you believe that? Like that is like people want to click and buy. That's what they want to do.
Yeah.
They want to click and buy and that's all they want to do. And they're going to buy from people they trust because that is now out there, right? People are just promoting so much stuff off of Amazon. So think about the last time that you saw somebody and you're like, oh, I need that. I'm going to click and go put that in my Amazon cart, right? It's just so easy. And the gig economy is what you were talking about. People want that opportunity to pick when they work, where they work, what they're doing. So if they don't like this over here, they're not going to do it. They're going to go do what they want to do. So it's just such an amazing time right now where people can choose what they want to do.
Yeah, I do think it's a really cool shift that's happening just socially, like with what careers look like, what making choices about the careers that you want to have, whether you go to college or not. Like it really is very cool how open-minded everything has become where, for example, whenever I decided to walk away from college my sophomore year, that was like, oh my God, how could you? You're going to ruin your life. And I just knew, I had this knowingness of like, no, I need to learn from living my life. I'm not going to be $100,000 in debt. I don't even know what I want to do with this, degree. So I'm not going to do this. But oh man, was that like a tough choice. And that was just less than a decade ago. Or no, that was more than a decade ago. Oh my God. Sarah, do the math. See, I didn't go to college, you guys. No, this was back in like 2006. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to do it. But the perception of someone quitting college in 2006 versus now now people don't even consider college as the first option for them. A lot of people, right? And I mean, nothing wrong with college, obviously, go if you want to go. But I think it's really cool how we just have more options now and people are just accepting those options with open arms. Like it really, it allows for more individuality, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And monetizing things that the big companies used to do now can be put down into smaller and you can just specialize in this one thing And I
Mm-hmm.
look at like my son is 12 and he's an entrepreneur. He's already got his, like, and we just put it on, it's on Etsy. It's nothing big, but he's learning those skills of a business and running a business at the age of 12. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. What people can do nowadays, and just make an income, monetizing, like
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah. I love that. So share with me a little bit, because this is always a really interesting question, to hear what everybody's answer is. So share with me is a time that you, looking back on it, you're like, okay, this was 100% an opportunity, but at the time you were like, I feel like a failure. Or there was a lot of fear around a choice you were making. What's something that was like that for you? Could be in the recent past, could be way back when, but yeah, now it's an opportunity, and like you knew that you know that it is now.
Yeah, I think the moment in time that I decided to walk away from coaching, I think everybody thought it was a huge mistake. And at the time, I second guessed myself all the way up until the point where I handed in my resignation. Like, I cried in my office. I said I was staying. And then I was like, no, I did this because I wanted to spend more time with my kids. And then I was, that was this constant struggle with me. Even 2 weeks after I did it, it still was a constant struggle. And then COVID happened. Like, literally, I handed in my resignation, and a week and a half later, COVID happened. So we were, it was perfect timing, I guess, in the long string of things. But in that moment in time, in the next 3 months, when we were all kind of just in that lockdown, our team went national vice president. Like, it was the time when I was able to give my family the choices they never had. I never thought that we'd be able to set when we went on vacation, because we literally had 1 week every year we could go on vacation. And if we didn't make it happen, it wasn't happening. We had, between my husband, just so you guys know, I would play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and he would play Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. So it was a constant one
You
parent
never saw
household.
each other. Yeah.
We never saw each other. And our kids never saw us at the same time. We'd get to Christmas and we'd have that week, off. And we'd literally sit in our chairs and drink coffee and watch movies because we were so exhausted. And I was like, this is just not life. This is not what life's supposed to be. So at the moment in time, I thought it was a failure. I thought I was doing something that was going to be a detriment to my family. I refused to go back to a boss. I refused to go back to somebody else putting that time on me. Forever forward, when we do businesses, like, I've gotten to the point where I get people that are really good at what they do, and I get to enjoy the business while they run the business. So it's just one of those things, you learn a lot. But I think that was one moment in time where I was like, I don't know if this is the right thing. I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, putting my family in financial jeopardy. But in the long run, it's been the biggest blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something that I think a lot of people experience, especially when they're on the verge of like making that shift to jump into full time. They're getting into something that's for themselves, making that choice and trusting like that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to trust my own decisions like wholeheartedly. There's no takesy backsies on this one. And that trust and that huge shift, that change, oh man, that can feel so scary. I remember as like a young adult quitting a job because I hated it so much. Like, it literally gave me like physical turmoil every time I had to go to the job. And so I just decided to quit one day. But even because it would like make me physically feel sick, something that did that to me, I still felt that I was making the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so wild that we place that meaning on it. Like, you and your husband didn't see each other. You were just like ships passing in the night.
Right.
And you still
Yes.
thought that it was maybe the wrong choice. That's so
Right.
crazy.
And that was like the moment of breakthrough too. I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of times you have to put that trust that God put this on your heart for a reason, right? Because it was on my heart for a good 3 or 4 months before I ever made the decision to say, okay, I think I can do this. And so you just have to take that leap. A lot of times that leap is what's going to take your life to the whole nother level. And so I love that. Yes. It's usually that hard decision is what's going to take your life to the next level.
Yeah. I think I heard somebody say, it was like a metaphor somewhere where it's like, if you're if you're going to jump out of an airplane, like the chute is going to open, but you have to jump out of the airplane. Otherwise the
Right.
chute never opens. Like it's just a fact of life. And, the universe is going to support you. And it's kind of just like it's right here waiting for you to make the choice.
Right.
And once you do and you open yourself up to it, it just all comes flooding in. And yeah, timing, of course, is a big factor, especially with network marketing. When COVID hit, I saw so many businesses. Like I was at
Explode.
the end of 2020 when I got involved with network marketing, so it was like definitely on the back end of the huge boom that happened with people in network marketing businesses. So when I started to get involved with it, I was like, okay. At first, I was getting all of this training from people that had found like quick success, like within a couple months, and they'd never worked in the business prior. And then it took me about 6 months or so to realize, like, I don't want to be trained by these people. They don't actually know what they're doing because they just accidentally like found success
Yep.
when everything boomed. They weren't working their business before that.
Right.
So what are they going to do when everything starts to kind of wane? So what has it looked like for you since that big boom in COVID? Because obviously you're still running a very successful business and it's
Yeah.
years later. And I guarantee you've seen plenty of people fall off the
Yep.
wayside because they don't know how to
Yep.
run a sustainable business.
Right. I think the mundane, you have to fall in love with the mundane. And that is like I said, like developing those relationships, asking people to take a look at your business and asking people to take a look at your products. And, for so many people, they get bored with that, right? And they can't stick to one thing for a consistent period of time. Where I look at it and I was like, oh, I can do that. Like it's not that hard to do the same thing over and over and over and over again every single day. And that's what it's going to take, to be honest. Like that consistency in your business pays off. Like I'm sure you've heard this, but network marketing falls in like your business runs in 30, 60, 90-day cycles, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
people that you're talking to and the people who you're talking to about your business and about those products, you may not get any response or a yes from them for 30, 60, 90 days. There's just amazing. If you ever track it, it is amazing to see that a lot of those people show back up about 90 days later. And then they're a yes, right? Because they need to see for 3 months your consistency on what you tell them, what you're talking about. Are you going to stick with this company? Are you going to stick to what you've been saying? And then they're okay with it. Then they say yes. And so we just tell our team, like, just be consistent for 30, 60, 90 days and see where your business is at that point in time, because it'll be in a completely different business, in a
Yeah.
different place.
Well, and I think too, like understanding that, okay, I'm going to do the day to day, that
Right.
sort of the a little bit mundane. You're probably having new conversations every day, right? But you're also
Yep.
having conversations with the same people
Yep.
as well. But understanding that like today is not the day that you're going to get all the results.
Right.
Today is just another day that is building the foundation that's going to get you to, you know, the harvest
Planting the
to
yeah,
yeah.
planting those
And that
seeds.
happens with any industry, which is so
Right.
crazy because when I first got into the online space and was doing network marketing, I wasn't doing my branding business. Like I was just doing network marketing and I was figuring out how to use social media. And I mean, we all
Yeah.
start somewhere. I had no social media presence whatsoever. And it's crazy to see the shift 3 years later. But you recognize that pattern of like the 30, 60, 90 in everything. It'll be in your content strategy. It'll be in every business model. Like when
Yes.
I started in January of 2023, I made a decision about my content. I was like, okay, I'm done being fucking stressed about content. Like I'm done. I don't want to wake up every day and sit there and think, I have nothing to talk about. I don't know what to say. Should I be inspiring or should it be educational? Like I was so sick of it. I was ready to just stop. And so I decided, no, I need to be really intentional and I'm only going to create content around these 5 things. So I started with the whole concept of like, having sort of buckets of the things you talk about each day. And I told myself, I was like, you're not going to look at any vanity metrics. You're going to do what you're deciding to do. You're going to do it for 60 days and you're just going to do it. And maybe it kind of, shifts a little like the branding of it, the way things look. But I told myself, I was like, you're giving yourself 60 days before you're making any decisions on whether this is working or not. And since then, I have been consistently, like I reached a full 365 days of increased engagement. You know how Facebook will give you like the
Yes.
notification. But yeah, I mean, it was like, congrats, you're 80 days of increased engagement. Next thing I knew, congrats, you got 165 days of increased and I just kept doing what I promised myself I would do. The
Right.
mundane. I stuck
Yep.
with it.
Yep. And in
And
any business, it's the same way, right? Like
mhm,
even the big corporate businesses, they walk in and they do the same thing every single day. And it just catapults and it builds and that's what I also love is it's not rocket science in network
yeah,
marketing. It is not rocket science. It's literally those two things. And the more complicated you make it, the more you are not successful. So just keeping it simple, that's the
yeah.
main thing. Make the main thing the main thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I love so much about the industry is, there's parts of it that I feel really connected to, and there's parts that I don't. And that's just me personally. And you're never going to know unless you try.
Right.
Right. But it is one of those industries that it's next to nothing to start your own business. You
Right.
don't have to pay to plug into people that are finding success. That is
Right.
just part of the equation because you've got your upline and all your sidelines and all the things. So it's like you could essentially get a college level education on business and marketing and how to use social media and communications and advertising. Like it really just depends what the people around you are good at. But you can get insanely good education for like no money.
Nothing. Nothing. Right. And very smart. I always tell people I go rub shoulders with the people who are higher up than me because they
Mhm.
obviously have done it longer usually. But they're just amazing, brilliant people, as well as business owners as well. But just and they're very good with people. Like this is a people business for the most part. It's a people business. So just understanding that people just want to feel important, right? If you can do that,
Mhm.
you can make a connection with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, truly caring, like, okay, what is this person struggling with? Do I have a solution for it? If not, what's something else I can plug them into? But understanding, like, yeah, it is a people business. It's human to human. And yeah, if you don't like people, then, don't build a business
Right.
online
I know.
because you got to talk to people.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Uh, yeah, so good. So as we're getting into 2024 and obviously Arbonne is the thing that you're focusing on, it sounds like. Is there something that's coming up for you that like we can keep our eyes open for? Do you do some like trainings that you offer to people that aren't in your team? What does that look like for all the listeners to get connected with you?
Yeah. So we, like you said at the beginning, we actually just opened up our CrossFit style gym. It's called Freedom
Mm,
Fitness. And we opened 5 days ago, like we're literally on day 5. So it has been a roller coaster. That opportunity actually just fell into my lap. Beginning of November, I was sitting at the coffee shop working my Arbonne business and somebody said, "Hey, I have this space. Would you want to like look at it to open a gym?" And I was like, well, I wasn't, but let's go take a look at it. And like we sprinted from that moment on, we sprinted to get this open by January 1st. And mostly because I'm just super passionate about helping people get healthy, to eat healthy, to understand food, because you guys, our food industry is just absolutely terrible.
yeah.
So just really understanding how to fuel their body, whether they're working out or they're not working out. And so that's why I became a certified sports nutritionist, was because I wanted to be able to tell people, even though I could tell them, I wanted them to know I had a certification that could help them, right? And helping people get healthy, helping people make healthy choices. And so I just launched my website that is up and going, and I'm doing nutritional coaching on there, as well as hopefully in the next 6 months, our gym is going to have an online app where you can, if you can't get to a
Cool.
gym, you can literally like push a subscription and it's online training for you, as well as like meditation and yoga, or you can choose, right? We're going to have some bear in the bar in there as well. So just a variety of things that we're going to be offering, but just expanding that, right? Just helping more and more and more people with their health goals. That's my ultimate goal.
I love that. That's so cool. And I mean, really genius too, because you can intertwine your Arbonne business with your gym. And that's something actually I did want to ask you about that. So how do you find, like, obviously you've got your point of view with building your Arbonne business because you're very into like the nutrition side of things and the fitness side and all of that. Everybody's different, right? There could be somebody who knows nothing about nutrition and fitness working a network marketing business. So on your team, what is something that you've seen people find like really good success with, that like what other kind of industries are they in? What other kind of jobs are they working while they're finding success with their network?
Yes, we have a lot of teachers in mind, mostly because I was a former teacher, right? So you usually attract the people that you have connections with to begin with, right? Because you can relate to them. So we have a lot of teachers, but I actually have a naturopathic doctor that's on my team. We have several nurses, a lot of nurses on our team. I have a doctor on our team. Like, there's just so many different, because when they see the value in what we do, and I tell people this all the time, like, go find the people who don't need this, because those are the people who are probably looking for the time freedom that you have to offer. And for those people, they're already successful in what they're doing. They're already successful. So they know how to work. They know how to do this. So go talk to those people. They're probably a no in the beginning because you haven't planted that seed, but maybe eventually when they get to a life like me and I have the need or the want, that's the first person they're going to think about. Like, I could do that and it could give me the time that I'm looking for. So really just focusing on those things, those kind of people, is go find the people who don't need it right now. Just plant that seed.
Yeah.
And then just keep moving on.
It really is. It's so simple, but it's so genius because it's so true. You have a lot of people that will try to build their business and they're like, oh, but nobody wants to work, or, you know, it's just the story after story of why they're having to drag people through the mud to build their business. And it's like, you're talking to the wrong people. You're talking to people that have that lack mindset, that aren't ready to work, that don't see the vision yet. And so, yeah, that's so smart to tell your team, like, to just go talk to doctors, go talk to nurses, go talk to lawyers, go talk to whoever, that they're already successful. And
teachers are so burnt out right now. Teachers are just being overworked, underpaid. So there's a lot of, and here's another statistic. This was part of my training, that 50.9% of the population is going to be in the gig economy in the next 2 years. 50.9. So
that's crazy.
Only 3% of that 50% has chosen a network marketing business to this date. So again, there's a huge opportunity for those people because they're going to be looking for something, right? They're going to be looking for a business that they might be able to do right now beside what they're doing, and then choose when they work and how often they work and from where they work. So giving, that is a huge benefit of network marketing. That's also why I love, because I would do it on the bus to games. I would do it like I'd put the kids to bed and then I'd work my business. I would do it at lunch. I had an hour at lunch. I would do it at lunch. I would get up an hour earlier and do it in the morning. It's like I got to choose when I worked my business. The other times I could be with my family. I could be coaching. I could be doing what I needed to do. So that's a huge advantage as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's for sure a fine line too, whenever you're working a 9 to 5 and you're working on building a business, you have to really be good at setting some boundaries with yourself as well as with other people. Cause I know for me in the beginning, I was so excited that I was working all the wrong times. Like I was overworking myself to a degree that just wasn't healthy. And so it took a little bit for me to understand that balance, to find like, it's okay to take this task and put it into tomorrow, you know, and those types of things. But I think, you know, it's really important whenever, you know, anybody listening to this that is working on building both, being able to create that balance where you're not burning yourself out on either front, right? Like, so if you have to keep
Right.
your 9 to 5 job while building your business, understand that you've got to be able to find that harmony. Otherwise, you're going to feel burnt out and you're not going to want to do either.
Right.
Yeah, because I imagine with like your schedule, that was probably pretty tricky for you to fit in your business. Like it
Right.
just, it gets
It
tough.
was tricky, but at the point in time I was desperate to get out. So I was willing to put in some of those extra hours. I just kept telling my husband a short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain, short-term sacrifice, and after, I mean, he saw us growing and he was super supportive. My husband's amazing. But it's just one of those things, like you just think about, like, if you have dreams or vision of being able to set your own hours and do your own thing and whatever, like just that short-term sacrifice of putting in a few extra hours for that long-term gain to have that life you want to live is a huge benefit. And I think that that is another thing that people, if they could just stay long enough to get that, right? They usually quit right before they hit that
Yeah.
brink of the other side. If they can stay long enough, it's a dream come true,
Mm-hmm. It really
Yeah.
is. Like the stories I have seen come out of network marketing are
Right.
mind blowing.
Right.
It is mind blowing, and I think it's wild how you said that statistic. So, what was the year by when 50% will be in the gig economy?
In the next year, by 2026,
Wow,
50.9% of the population will be in the gig economy. Yeah.
that is wild. And with only, would you say 3% or less in network marketing?
3% or
Um,
less right now are in network marketing. Yeah.
Wow. And there's so many fantastic companies out there. Obviously,
Yes.
Lindsay's with Arbonne, really fantastic company. I've taken their products many, many times. I know a lot of people that are in that company, and I've been partnered with a couple companies along the way. And, it's just like, it's the coolest thing that you're going to find, like people that are supporting you. And I highly encourage anybody who has either been burned by network marketing before or has never tried it, reach out to somebody that you know. Maybe it's Lindsay, right? Reach out to somebody that you know and ask them about it. Ask them how they're doing with it, how they're enjoying it. What does their day look like? What do they have to do to make X amount of money every month? Because it's all about just opportunity. It could be for
Right.
you. You never know.
And the average income, the average household right now, what is like $300 to $350 to just live the same lifestyle that they did 2 years ago. So I mean, like if you could make $350 a month and that's it. I mean, not everybody is meant to go to the top of network marketing, right? You
True.
can, everybody has the opportunity to, but sometimes $350 can make a huge impact on a family. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing that I love is I have some people who just need $500 and that's all they want to, they'll work to get to that $500 and then they stop, right? So it's just, what do you want and what do you need?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your own personal desire is going to be the driver
Right.
of whatever the result on the other end is. And so that's one of the things that I find really interesting about network marketing and why I like having these conversations with people is because, yeah, somebody could be making millions or somebody could be making anywhere from 300 to $1,000 a month. And that is life changing. Like
Right.
that's the difference between you not being able to pay your bills and you maybe having some little extra so you can actually take your family out to dinner or something. Like
Right.
it's just money isn't everything, but it does buy like reduce stress.
Yes. One of our former presidents in our company used to say, money isn't everything, but it's right up there with oxygen, right? So it makes life
Oh
just a
yeah.
little easier. It makes it a little easier.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I mean, it's unfortunate how necessary it is just to live, that you have to have
Yeah.
money. But I mean, that's the way our world is. And so understanding that there are opportunities like this around literally every corner. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I'm doing this podcast to begin with, is just so someone might come across this episode and be like, wow, I didn't really realize that. Now I know. And now maybe they look into it and then maybe their life changes, or maybe they just have that inkling to do something different, see it differently. Because that's what happened for me. Like I had that mindset around network marketing that I didn't understand it. It wasn't for me, all the things. But I started showing up to trainings, like team trainings. I started having conversations with women that had been in the industry for a while. And I saw behind the curtain of the possibilities that could be for me if I really wanted to tap into it. And that has quite literally changed the trajectory of my life. I mean, I'm sitting here on my very own podcast now. 3 years ago, I'd have been like, podcast? No, that's not in the cards. But just because I saw possibility, it changed everything for me. So I hope that this does that for somebody. But yeah, okay. Anything you want to leave us with as we sign off today?
No, I just really appreciate you having me on here. It's so good to connect with you again. It was amazing how we met. I do believe it was a God thing that we met and how we met and being able to do this. But thank you for letting me just come on here and chat with you. And I look forward to maybe doing this again. Maybe we could talk about women and protein. That's one of my favorite subjects to talk about.
Ooh, yes, that's so good. Ooh, that would be really good to do maybe around like spring break or something. Cause I have a friend that does like, she's a yoga teacher and all the things. So maybe we could do like a fitness series. That would be, oh, yeah. Women in protein, y'all, that's a topic. That is a topic. Yeah, we'll get it on the books. Keep your eyes and ears open for that next episode. Lindsay, thank you so much for being here. Such a fabulous conversation. I love that, we can talk about simplifying network marketing and just getting it in front of more people and helping them understand. Maybe it's for them, right?
Right. Love that.
Awesome. All right. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for listening to Branded, the podcast. Please rate and review. And for more information, visit socialjanemedia.com. I'll see you soon.